Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome back to Vanguard In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the STG44 assault rifle not only for Call of Duty Vanguard, but also for Warzone Pacific. So it's going to be a little bit of a 2-for-1 today. Of course, I want to give a shout out to Exclusive Ace for helping me with the stats for this video because I am not a strong independent man right now. He's linked down there below in the description. My creator code is Driftor, which does make this sponsored by Activision. All caps, O is a 0, and we have a brief sponsored message before we hop into In Depth. Today's sponsor is short and sweet because it's Astro Gaming. You've seen me plugging them for the last decade or two now, but I have literally worn these pink headsets with the yin yang on them every single day for the last couple of years now. I've been using Astros for decades. The mix amp is fantastic, not only for content creation, but also for managing your audio better on consoles. They are having a holiday sale. My promotion code stacks with that sale. You can find all that info down there in the description if you want to check it out. Now let's get back to In Depth. Wow, we are moving at lightning pace today, so it's finally time to talk about the STG44. This is a great assault rifle. It may not be the best, it's definitely not the best in every situation, it's definitely not OP, but it is a top tier assault rifle, and importantly, it is a very reliable assault rifle. And because of that reliability, this is the one to which all other assault rifles will be compared. It sets the standard that we all kind of look up to, and I think it's the absolute perfect one to review first. If you'd like to continue this conversation with me or anybody else, you can do so in my Discord server. We have a number of interesting rooms. One of them is a Call of Duty section. Now let's talk about the STG damage profile. The base damage on this weapon is 29 to 20, and the bonus damage, which is upper torso and stomach, which is a pretty healthy bonus damage range, basically anything in the chest, that is 31 to 20 as well. If you're running Vital and going for the Vital bonus damage, you can get 43 damage up close and down to 31 at long ranges, which is surprisingly lower than the Vital damage that you get on a lot of SMGs. And when it comes to how much this impacts your time to kill, you really only need one Vital shot up close to get a faster time to kill, or 2 Vital shots at long ranges to get a faster time to kill. The rate of fire in the STG44 is 600 rounds per minute, which is objectively slow. It's not a very fast firing assault rifle, but it's still at an acceptable speed. It's more like a medium slow, and the good thing about 600 RPM is that matches perfectly with 60 FPS where most of us are playing, so you're not missing any inputs between frames, and it's going to feel very good. It's going to probably feel a little bit faster than it really is. When you put all those numbers together, let's take a look at the time to kill, which if you're getting your bonus shots on people's chest, your time to kill is about 300 milliseconds. Or if you're going for the vital shots, which is usually going to be head and neck, plus the perks and stuff you all have to put on, that's going to be 200 milliseconds, which is a very significant improvement. The downside, though, is that even though these time to kill numbers look great and they might seem like pretty fast time to kills compared to some of the Call of Duty games we're used to, especially Cold War, these time to kill numbers are actually kind of slow in Vanguard, especially compared to most of the other full auto weapons. Some of the LMGs kill stupid fast. With the right setups, a lot of the SMGs kill very fast, and this is on the slower end of time to kill for assault rifles too. And that's sort of like a numerical ranking. If I put all 20 full autos on there, this one would be close to the bottom, but the spread isn't too far from average. It's only slightly slower than average. It's just that we have some very fast killing weapons in Call of Duty Vanguard. Thankfully, it does have fantastic range. It'll deal its maximum damage from 0 to 50 meters, which is kind of absurd actually, which means that if you're, kitting this weapon out and making your classes, you can make a lot of sacrifices with the range, and you don't have to boost the range, and it'll be fine for the majority of Vanguard maps. Of course, after 50 meters, it will deal that minimum damage, which again isn't too bad. It's not the biggest drop off. When it comes to the handling stats on the STG44, the aim down sights time is 230 milliseconds, which is fast compared to other assault rifles, and the sprint out time is 217 milliseconds, which is again fast compared to other assault rifles. Not SMGs, but this is one of the snappier handling ARs in its class. Like a lot of the properties I'm going to talk about today, its movement speed kind of defines the standard for assault rifles in Call of Duty Vanguard, and thus Warzone if you're playing Vanguard Royale. Bullet velocity is 885 meters per second, which is way faster than SMGs. It's a very nice bullet velocity. It's one where you won't have to worry about leading your shots too much, but all assault rifles have this base velocity. After playing Black Ops Cold War for a year, this is going to feel absurdly fast. So in past years, I would have wanted it over 1,000, but after dealing with Cold War, I've gotten more comfortable with lower bullet velocity, so I would say this is another thing that you could sacrifice a little bit. You don't have to push this any higher, and a matter of fact, you could probably take a couple of hits to bullet velocity and not notice much change in performance. The reload time on the STG44 is 1.65 seconds for the full reload cancel. The animation is 3 seconds, which is quite slow, and this seems really slow, but it's somewhat normal for Call of Duty Vanguard. A lot of weapons in Call of Duty Vanguard have very similar reload times, and they all just kind of reload slower than past CODs in general. I guess it's because old-timey weapons weren't always easy to reload, and they wanted to keep it at least a little bit more realistic compared to modern assault rifles. Historically speaking, the STG44 is very interesting. It's broadly considered the very first assault rifle, or debatably considered the first assault rifle. It does compare to the BAR, and it's the weapon that, if my understanding is correct, the Russians most heavily based the AK-47 off of. But when it comes to Call of Duty, it just is the bearer of standards. But let's talk about its recoil. The STG44 recoil is low, but not the lowest. It's predictable and easy to master, and it's going to feel good. It's going to feel better than it probably is. If you do a wall test with the STG44, you'll get pretty good results on the spread. However, it's one that's designed to be very easy to control, and most importantly, we want to focus in on that word predictable. This has extremely predictable recoil, which is why people like it so much. They know exactly where the next shot is going to kick. They know exactly how to pull down on the sticks and mouse to compensate. And this is a gun that very easily lets you land your own shots. When it comes to amount of recoil per shot, it's pretty similar to a lot of the other assault rifles, but the slightly lower rate of fire means that you have more time to recover between your shots, so it'll feel a little bit lower. At the end of the day, this is the most basic and standard assault rifle in Call of Duty Vanguard. Nothing is more standard than this, but don't think that it's bad. It's actually quite good. It's good enough to be the pro player's assault rifle of choice because of its exceptional recoil predictability. The time to kill, while a little bit slower than average, is still good enough, and it's good enough to be a fair trade-off for more predictability. Pros could lean toward a lot of assault rifles that kill people faster, but they might miss more shots, and they kind of don't like that. And I think that this is one time where the pro players and casual players are in agreement that landing more shots is better, and that's just what the STG44 allows you to do. It's good enough to just go for headshots if you feel like it. But that's not all today. Now we got to change gears a little bit and talk about Warzone Pacific. Now the STG has been in Warzone for a while now, leading up to the Pacific launch. It was leaked before that because we had people using unlocked tools, and they're all getting banned by anti-cheat now, we hope. But the STG Warzone stats are as follows. It'll deal 45 damage for headshots, decreasing down to 39 at long ranges. The chest is going to be 33 up close and 28 at long range, and then other regions, which is going to be stomach and hands and feet and stuff like that, that's going to be 30 to 26. So your damage decreases with each region that you move further away from the head. It maintains its Vanguard rate of fire at 600 rounds per minute, which is a little bit slow for Call of Duty, again, especially in Warzone, because you're going to compare to a lot of very fast firing weapons. But Warzone has different requirements, so that's not something that you really have to worry about too much, except for the fact that its time to kill is kind of slow. When you combine those numbers with the rate of fire, its time to kill against a fully armored enemy is about 800 milliseconds as of my last calculation, and I'll admit that I'm rusty and off my game, but I went through and checked all the other weapons to make sure I wasn't off my rocker, and they were all pretty similar. So the STG actually has a kind of slow time to kill, especially compared to Cold War or Modern Warfare 2019 weapons. However, most of the Vanguard guns have this same time to kill, plus or minus 100 milliseconds. Some of the faster ones that I found were about 720 milliseconds, some of the slower ones about 910 milliseconds. So just like regular multiplayer, it kind of bears the standard for time to kill in Call of Duty Warzone. It's a very popular weapon in Warzone, mostly because it takes 800 million years to level up a gun, because Sledgehammer designed the grind to be absurd to do in regular Warzone in order to incentivize Vanguard sales. So a lot of people are using the STG44 because it's one of a few weapons that they're actually gonna have leveled. When it comes to creating classes for this weapon, I didn't want to do two complete different class breakdowns because that could be a little bit confusing. And also because the weapon is so good, I think this is one that I can say you can build almost any way you want it and it will be good. When it comes to Call of Duty Vanguard, I like building my STG44 to have a little bit more mobility in terms of ADS and sprint out time, nice clear optics, fast ADS, and maybe some rate of fire boost. Anything that'll boost my rate of fire a little bit and not totally nuke the recoil is a benefit because it moves that time to kill into a more competitive range. When I'm building the STG44 for Vanguard, it's almost completely the opposite. I focus on low recoil, high accuracy, long range combat, boost bullet velocity. I do take the L and run a suppressor on it. I don't think you can give a penalty to a suppressor that will make me not use it in Call of Duty. I'm just addicted to those things. And I try to use optics that have some kind of zoom on it. So a lot of people will use this just with the World War II version of the dot sight. That's totally fine. I like using it at a little bit longer ranges with some kind of zoom possibly, and then having an SMG as my backup weapon. But if you're going to snipe with this and have a sniper as your primary, then probably ditch the zoomed optics and just stick with like regular irons or like a regular dot sight if this is going to be your kind of up close rough and tumble weapon, and it'll still work in that regard. So yeah, focus on long range. You want long range hits with the STG. Guys, that is all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.